DIY.
wires. It finally happened. It finally happened. Y'all been special requesting, bothering this man, all in the videos. Not playing. Y'all been special requesting this gentleman to come to the platform for some time. Obviously, you're sitting right here in front of the J Nolan. It's Nolan. How you doing, sir?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm happy to finally, make this happen, because just as people been putting my name in your chat, they be putting yours in mine. Like, when you gonna do something with Curtis? I'm like, man, it's going to happen. Just be patient. Let us figure this out.
Well, the crazy part, and I'm gonna take accountability, is that it was supposed to happen last year, and then life and then certain activities of last year, I think had us all had to lock in on content, because boy, oh boy, that damn battle and all that stuff that keeps on giving us content. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time he and I have ever spoke in terms of like on a camera or even on we've never had a conversation, but it feels like we have, and you were kind of explaining that. But man, let me give this quick introduction, and then I want you to give in your own words who J Nolan is. J Nolan is an Atlanta-based independent hip-hop artist and YouTuber dedicated to empowering other artists through transparency and education, known for his lyrical craftsmanship and valuable YouTube content on topics like music business, music news, sync licensing, and creative independence. J Nolan has carved out a lane that blends artistry and actionable game. His approach to independence has made him a vital voice in our very broad DIY community. J Nolan, man, in your own words, though, who are you?
Man, I mean, that was pretty clear, but shit, man, at the end of the day, I feel like a creative is just like all encompassing, because from the music to the YouTube content to, covering other creatives and giving my perspective, and, this whole landscape that we participate in, you got to be creative in order to like really survive and thrive on this end of things. You can't just phone it in, so I think that's the easy way, because we'll be here all day just off the intro.
Yeah, no, facts. And I feel like so much of our stories, excuse me, may overlap, because obviously you're holding down the responsibilities of not someone who's just doing daily content and, reporting on the hip hop news and the latest things that are going on in the culture, but you're also someone who is an active artist. And I don't think people realize the similarities in the parts of the brain that those both use, and then also too the very different types of parts of the brain that you use, or the different steps that go along with it. Man, and so I wanted to have this conversation with you because, it's not every day that I'm able to talk to somebody who is holding the responsibilities down of both. So it'll be more so discussion style than it is, I guess, interview style. That way we get to get y'all involved in the conversation, because I feel like I've been running off all these interviews, and I haven't been able to get the community as involved. So I think this would be a dope opportunity. But speaking of which, go ahead.
No, I said I'm with it. Like whatever we're doing.
Man, speaking of which, man, tell me a little bit about, I guess the earlier journey for you as an artist, and what eventually brought you over to YouTube in terms of doing like this type of content that you're doing today.
Sheesh. All right. So early journey, man. Like, as far as rapping, I've been doing this shit forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think my first rap was probably like 8 years old, something around there. Getting into high school, of course, I think we all that come from this, especially if we're a certain age, we know how it is to like take your mixtapes to the school and through the community and shit like that. So that's where my story begins, really, is like being inspired by the greats. You know what I'm saying? At this time, we're looking at probably 06, 07.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at, Lupe, Wayne, all these people, shit, the Papooses of the world, because that was like heavy mixtape shit.
Yeah.
Game was going crazy with the mixtapes, G Unit, all that shit. So I was just kind of like trying to recreate that feeling within my own community out here in the south side of Atlanta. And from there I had my little misadventures and shit like that.
What you mean when you say misadventures?
When I say misadventures, I don't mean no legal shit, but like,
You gotta be careful because somebody gonna put a reaction video just on that.
right,
The misadventures. Let's dig deeper.
exactly. But
Oh
as
man,
far as like the hopeful record deals and the hey, we gonna do this, do that type of
right.
shit, and getting my music on the radio and thinking like, oh shit, this might be the beginning of the big thing,
Right.
So I developed relationships with like people like Don Cannon early on. He was somebody who was like instrumental into like just giving me hope that I was nice. You know what I'm saying? Because me and my cousin, we would go up to the radio station out here, and at the time they were doing Gangsta Girls Radio, him and Drama, and we would pop out on them niggas like when they would come out to go to their car after the show. And like, yeah, on some like, who is that?
They don't know about it, bro. Like I think now I see a lot of artists that have been so married to the internet that they can't imagine being out here. And like there was a time period where it even got as bad as, remember all the people that was approaching Kanye at one time and was like, let me freestyle for you, man. I just want to give you some bars. Or even like when they heard the J. Cole story and you have folks that were trying to recreate that. And it's like, man, that's a different type of I'm trying to make it energy.
For sure. Yeah. And then of course, this rap shit wasn't as hopeful back then as it is today. Like everybody sees a route or a path to like, even if you're not successful, you could be, or let me rephrase that. Even to where if you're not the big artist on the screen, you can still be successful. But back then it was like you either on Rap City or you ain't did shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at that time, I didn't really have the support system of like my pops was super supportive, but my mom's was like school. So
what's crazy about that? That was the opposite.
Okay.
For me, my mom was like, because my mom played music. My mom was 1,000%, and my pops was the one I was like, because he's a professor. He got a doctorate and all of that. So he's like, why choose rap? You could do do anything else. Why choose rap? And I'm like, it makes me happy.
For sure. Yeah. And my dad, like his support was like misguided. So he was like, shit, man, you could go on Apollo. And I'm like, Apollo? I'm not trying to rub that log. Like,
rappers don't do well. They never did well on Apollo. Unless you were the rapper that got invited, like unless you were Lauryn Hill, or unless you were what is it? Digital Underground, and you were like a performer. Rappers always got booed, and you got to
for sure
stage and all that. Yeah.
So that was the whole thing of me just like, I'm not doing that. So let me figure this shit out. So from there, like I said, I had that relationship with Canon or whatever, and that was just off some like passing CD shit. They even played my song on the radio. Like I gave them niggas the CD one week, the next week they played it. So that was like, and I was still in high school.
You was in high school?
Yeah.
I was that, because I know when I was in high school, there was a dude that got signed, and he got signed. Everybody was so happy for him, and he disappeared for the next 3 years. We was in Peace Freshmen, and I was like, everybody had lore around him because of how big that was to have opportunities happen in high school. What was kind of the reaction of your peers?
Shit, man, they didn't even know what was happening.
Oh, they did.
Because it was so much going on at that time to where I could tell people and they'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But they didn't actually witness it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit.
Okay. But that relationship kind of it kind of dissipated after I graduated. But then a couple years later, crazy enough, I was working with this other dude in the studio named Ben Styles. Shout out to Ben Styles. And we used to cook up, and he worked at the airport. So he came across this other dude on the shuttle at the airport. And I don't know what his intuition was, but he was like, what you listening to over there? It looked like you involved in music. So he was listening to my shit in his headphones. So he said, okay, well, here you go. So homeboy was like, oh, this dude is fire. So then he ended up circling back, getting in contact with me. And he's like, yo, I work with Canon. And I'm like, oh, bet. Like I just was taking my shit to him every week a couple years ago. So then, we were supposed to have like this this situation that was on the table at the time. It didn't work out, but again, it was like a very instrumental portion of time for me to where it was like, okay, I'm getting closer, or at least I'm on to something.
Yeah.
So then when that situation fell through, I came out with this project called Broken Dreams. This is 2010 for y'all in the chat. So the nigga been out here, man. But
Right.
so
Hold on
20
one more time.
So 2010, that Broken Dreams project came out, and it was titled that because I felt like my dreams had been shattered. Like, damn, I got this close. Folks was rooting for me, and I somehow I dropped the ball. That's how I felt. And this project ended up being like the first project that people really started to kind of know who I was in this online space. Like it had spread to like Poland and UK and yeah. And I had like two different versions because at this time this is like media fire shit, yo. So
media fire. Oh my god. Remember Z Share?
Z Share, yeah. This is where we was distributing music through that shit. So I had like one link that had like 5,000 downloads on that bitch. I had another link that had like another 3. So I'm like, damn, I got about 8,000 downloads on this bitch. I'm up.
Pretty much already made it. I'm just letting y'all know, like, you better get on the train now because I pretty much made it. No, I get that. I knew that feeling.
And at the time, I'm watching the other niggas that's out. The J. Cole's get on. I'm watching. Hell, man, I was heavy into like the West Coast resurgence. You know what I'm saying? So I was like watching Kendrick. I was watching Pac Div. I was watching Jay Davy and all these different people. And I'm like, yo, these cats is getting on from the tapes. So I'm like, it's only right.
Come on.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't work out that way. But what it did was establish like an audience of people that was like fucking with the music. And then, once streaming came into play, like some of those people actually converted into, fans and things of that nature. But then once streaming did come into play 2012, 2013, somebody actually introduced me to the sync licensing business. So that was like when I got my first placement and I was like, okay, I could actually make money off of this music outside of like, the occasional iTunes purchase or what have you, which, that's cool. It was great it was a great feeling, but it wasn't substantial to my life.
Yeah.
So once I got into like the sync game, that was definitely a change. Cause I'm like, damn, they paid me like $300-$400 up front. And this was like, a split. So I'm like,
it's different then. It was different. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it's like on the back end, once the royalties started coming in, I'm like, okay, they gave me $300-$400, but now I'm seeing that come in every few months.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, I done made about $1,500 off this one placement. I'm like, this is where I need to be at. So
if you don't mind me asking, what is mom saying when money is coming? I want to compare that to what my pop said when I brought my first music money home.
Bruh. She was happy.
Right. Oh, she was happy.
She was happy, but it was still like she didn't get it. So it was like, like what else? Well, how does that work? Like, how can you replicate that type of thing? I think that was more of the question is like, okay, you on to something, but how do you turn that into life? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cause I'm gonna say real quick, I first got my first check that I got was I got a placement in a van skateboarding video. And I showed my dad the video and he was like, that's cool. Like he's like, I don't really understand what's going to be. That's cool. It's your music. All right, cool. Then I showed him a $300 check and he was like, okay, I think I understand a little bit now. I said, it's so crazy how like generations.
He turned the lethal shoot on your ass.
Bam. Like my grandmother, God rest her soul, my grandmother didn't understand all this work that I was doing, these shows and all of that. She knew it was a big deal when she saw me in a newspaper article. And I was like, generational differences of things that they kind of like see as validating factors, right? If you're in a newspaper, you must be something that's newsworthy. And so now you must be really serious. And it's like, I just work with this person and this person. And okay, I got you. But I'm sorry, I don't want to railroad your story. I just want to.
Oh, no, we good. So, but it's the same type of parallel, man. So from there, for the next probably 5 years, like I'm still simultaneously dropping like the mixtapes and stuff like that. and getting my chops up with the shows and traveling and going to Tennessee, going to DC, going to wherever they'll
Right,
have me. You feel me?
right,
So
right.
doing that whole rigmarole, like shit, I ain't trying to buy plane tickets. I'm on a mega bus with it bit, like which with some crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah. Oh, you on a
getting
mega bus? You for
getting
sure gonna get
getting
some
getting
mixed
picked,
company.
yeah, getting picked up and dropped off in the middle of nowhere, like just to make this shit happen, to feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah.
So, but 2018 is probably where I started to see like more consistent placements from the sync licensing game. Because I
Mm,
think 2018 I might have had like 4 or 5 big ones like back to back to back. I'm like, okay, we
yeah.
doing something.
Yeah.
Um, so at that time, my peers in Atlanta, they're looking at me like, okay, what is J Nolan doing different than us? Because
Mm,
how is he eating off music and we still doing the open mics and all this different type of shit?
yeah.
So I ended up putting together, because I had already created, along with some of my homies, we had created this collective, I guess you could call it, called Fresh and Local.
Okay.
And we were doing like a podcast, we were doing playlists on SoundCloud, and doing just trying to be of service to the independent artist community out here in Atlanta as much as we possibly could. We were interviewing like uh poets, artists, entrepreneurs, all type of stuff, just trying to be like, all right, if we want something, we have to contribute. We can't just
Yeah.
be out here asking for handouts. So I came up with this event called the Songwriter Social Club, and this is kind of like the beginning of the path that brought me to YouTube.
Right.
So with the Songwriter Social Club, because at the time, 2018, I was getting into doing songwriting on Fiverr, and a lot of folks don't know that's a hustle right there.
Ooh, yeah. I had what's my guy's name? Cubo. He's from this. He did a story, and where somebody covered him. I forget the platform that covered. It might have been Fiverr, but he made like 6 figures basically taking
I
requests from companies.
I know who
I
you
think we
talking
might have
about.
covered the same story low key. I
Yeah,
think he might have
yeah.
both covered that.
I forget his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. He got covered by CNN and no,
That's what it was.
CNBC.
Like, in his story, 6 figures off of like companies. Instead of companies, I guess the traditional way they do it is go through a third party company that then kind of sources all of the artists and figures out who to work with, and then they get paid a fraction from the company, and then they bust that down and give it to the
Mm-hmm.
artist or the producer. But yeah, that kind of made me look at it, because I was like, oh shit, okay, so that. But then there's also this, and I want to ask you about this before you
Mm-hmm.
get into that story. Did you have an issue with the stigma of what it looked like? Well, I don't know if that's a
I
West Coast thing, because I know
Nah,
for sure people be looking at shit and be like,
nah,
"Nigga,
that's
you
a
on
real thing.
Nigga, you
That's a
on
real thing.
Fiverr?"
So
Yeah, yeah.
what what actually enticed me to go in that direction is I had another homie in the local community out here that was
Right.
already cracking niggas' heads on there. So
Mhm.
at first, I wouldn't have, if somebody would have brought it to me, I probably would have been like, I don't know.
Right.
But he had put this post up on Instagram where he was leaving. Like he ain't tell nobody he was doing it until he said, I'm done with it. So he posted on Instagram like, yo, I've been on Fiverr and I made more money off of this than I was doing driving Uber and
Damn.
doing Uber Eats and all this shit. And I'm like, okay, I just seen this nigga performing at a show a few weeks ago.
What happened between here and there?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so he been eating, you
Yeah.
know? So when he said that, I was like, okay, well, if he's leaving, who finna fill his shoes? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because I'm like, I know we're both like comparable talent. So if he's leaving, somebody else is gonna need that service.
Mhm.
So I signed up immediately, and I got to it, and it took a minute before people, actually started placing orders with me. I would get like the occasional thing, every couple weeks or something like that. But then, of course, in that marketplace, the more active you are, the more your reputation kind of builds, the more they kind of algorithmically place you in front of people and all this other type of stuff. So going into 2019, it started becoming like a decent little, I don't even know the word to use at this time, but just like supplemental income, is
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm working, but I'm like, okay, I'm eating off this Fiverr shit. And I'm also getting royalties off of the TV shows and other shit. So I'm like, damn, I got about three streams of income now.
Mhm.
I'm coming along. So we did the Songwriter Social Club to kind of educate people on the different processes of like, okay, this is the music business. This ain't the music industry necessarily, but this is the music
Music
business,
business,
and
yeah.
this is how you can eat off of your talents if you actually are dedicated to the craft and dedicated to, you know, finding a path to sustain you while you focus on this larger, you know, goal.
Right.
So that's how a lot of that started. And you know, luckily at the time, Fiverr was kind of getting involved with different initiatives and stuff like that. So they allowed me to partner with them
Oh,
to
wow.
do it. And so they gave me access to General Assembly out here in Atlanta, which of course is you know, it's like an educational venue.
Okay.
And crazy enough, they didn't even tell me, but they sent food and everything to the venue. So I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
they
we got,
catered it and all
yeah,
that?
they
I
catered it.
saw Fiverr one time.
So
Fiverr does seem like a company that is very much, community centric.
yeah. And I gotta say, it used to be more so than it is today. I think now they're focusing heavy on like the development of AI, and you know, if you're trying to like get involved with that, they're definitely
Of course.
open to
Of course.
that, which makes me fall back a little bit.
Right.
So
That to me, when I start seeing companies talking about AI, to me, that's code for, oh, y'all niggas ain't making no more money, huh? Oh, you you need to automate some shit. You got to
yeah,
offload some people, don't you? Huh? Ain't
yeah,
that some shit?
they making money,
What
but
what
they
they
like,
want?
how can we get to it faster? You know
What,
what I'm saying?
how can we cut these margins?
Yeah,
How can we
yeah,
cut these? How can we figure out how to get these margins even wider? You know what I
yeah.
mean?
How can I spend red money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did that, and I did that a couple times, and you know, the only thing was I wanted to keep doing it at a certain pace,
Mhm.
and they had so many different things they were involved with that I had to like take it on to my own thing.
Yeah.
So continue that. We started doing let me see. Then simultaneously we were doing this yearly, at first it started out as a picnic. It's called the Fresh and Local Picnic. And it turned into like a mini festival.
Mhm.
Um, so at the same time, I was like, how can I merge these two things? Like from the live performance and supporting indie artists to also having a educational aspect to what it is that we're doing. So when 2020 came, and of course COVID knocked a lot of shit out of orbit,
Sheesh.
we did it virtually.
Okay.
So we
So you got like
allowed
students or whatnot that were in the environment, or just aspiring artists. Like who
Nah,
was the?
so this is all just local community
Mhm.
of like artists, producers, because we had folks, you know, um, I don't know if you're familiar with Controllerize out here in Atlanta.
Hell yeah! Shout out
Oh,
my
okay.
the outro. Don't stop being stingy. That's produced by Stolen Drums.
My nigga. So
Look, I'm out there. I don't know when. I told him. I said it ain't gonna be this month. I'll probably be out there next month. So you know, I don't know if you're gonna be out there to control the rise, but I'm like, I gotta be out there for sure.
bet. So like we was fucking with dudes from that camp. A couple of them came and did like live beat sets and stuff on the show. We had couple out of state artists that wanted to perform. So
Mhm.
what we did was allowed them to just send in their performance, and I did the hosting and broadcasting and just playing everybody's shit. And then we did like some live interviews. Shout out to Miss Tammy Latrell, who
Mm.
out here in Atlanta from the Mezzo Agency, helping artists get their publishing and shit in order. So we had a whole conversation about that. I had a conversation with this guy from iHeartRadio talking about the independent radio business and stuff,
Mhm.
so people could learn how to, you know, get their sound exchange set up and all of this different shit. So it was like a culmination. It was low key like a online South by Southwest type of vibe. You know what I mean?
Which was supremely needed during the pandemic because you saw more, and I understood why, but you saw more of these type of companies um either turning into charities themselves, which was really dope, or turning into people who were trying to get some of that that PPP loan money or
Facts.
or like, if you guys want to keep this alive when we all get back outside, make sure you donate. And I just looked at that and I'm like, man, with the way that things are shaped, specifically independent artists get their ass kicked. We get our ass kicked by so many different things to pay for, so many fees to get this, especially when we care and want this to look really good. So I imagine something like that during the pandemic had to be crucial for a lot of people that had time too to actually put it into action.
Exactly. And it turned out to be way more than I projected it to be. And then at the same time, I'd man, so many different things came into fruition at this time. So we multicasted that shit to YouTube, Facebook, all these different things. And I'm still learning how all of this shit works. So I'm like, damn, this YouTube shit could be something. Plus my wife, my now wife, she was already on YouTube. And some of y'all in the chat already know my wife.
Word.
But yeah.
What was she doing? Like it was her business or something that she had on there? Or was it just what kind of content?
So she does, at the time she was doing kind of like housewives content and like really like TV and kind of what they call gossip type of thing. So she was giving her side of the game on that side.
Right.
And it was kind of like letting me know that there was an avenue out there for this commentary, because I was not privy to YouTube all that heavy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Outside of people like you, I didn't really know who was out here. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, you were familiar with me back then? I had no idea that you even.
Bro, I used to play your beats on YouTube.
What?
Dead serious.
I've been around here too long. How long? What year we talking about?
My dog, I'm talking about. I witnessed when your channel went from uploading beats to I'm about to start doing commentary and tutorials and shit. I watched that shit happen.
Bro, you know what's so crazy about that is, so in the process of me doing YouTube, I've been in 2 different relationships, right? And both of those significant others contributed their own feedback that was so much more valuable than what I was doing. When I tell you my channel first started, all I had in my mind was that I was on fire about giving advice because, did we lose you?
Hold on, let me see what the hell going on, man.
It's all good. It's all good. I was gonna say is that I was on fire about giving to other people and giving advice because I felt like, damn, I've met so many people. There we go. I met so many people, and I feel like part of a very small percentage of independent artists that got blessed to get this information in this game. And I was like, man, I was going to Tony Robbins events at the time. I was consuming a podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire. There was a book I read called The Go Giver, and it just had me like on fire to just give. So the first 200 videos, I was just telling stories, and some of it did well, some of it didn't. I had a series called Artist Marketing 101, Producer Motivation 101, because I was just talking to the audiences I thought I could talk to. And bro, I'll be honest, there wasn't a whole lot of folks at that time on this space that looked like us. It was a lot of folks that there's a lot of folks that was like, and it's not that that's a problem that you have other representation. I love to see diversity in a situation, but you also, just like a kid, man, a kid wants to be able to they want to be able to see a piece of themselves in their cartoon characters, a piece of themselves in their superheroes, which is so dope. Like I wish we had like a Black Panther growing up. Like I think the closest I had was Bishop and X-Men. I was like, that's gonna be what it is then. But with that said, man, my wife now, bro, she's been telling me to do the content that I've been doing for the last 3 years, for the last 7 years.
I can relate.
But I'm curious if you're going through this, bro. Coming at you from a major city where if you say some shit, these niggas might pull up on you in the studio on accident. And then you got to face like, damn, I just did a story about this nigga. I know he's seen this shit. It's happening right now, bro. Like I went to an LA event and somebody, I didn't even say that negative. I just didn't agree with them. He gave me that look like, yeah, nigga, I seen that video, and then turn around. And I was like, over YouTube? But it was like years that my channel never talked about anybody else because in my mind, oh, that's gossip. And
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, but I be talking about these people when I'm offline. So how is that? Am I such a better person because I talk? It's barbershop talk.
Yep.
It just so happened to be here, sitting here on YouTube, but I struggle with that, bro. I struggle with that. And she was like, you need to just do like reactions. You need to like talk about popular people. And then there's also a little pride in me that was like, I'm somebody too.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
talk about them? Did you go through some of those that myriad of emotions?
I went through the whole shit. So because I came to YouTube thinking I was about to be like fucking what's my boy name from Indepreneur? I'm sure you know who that is. But
Who was it? You said again?
Indepreneur, that platform. It was this dude. He was just trying to educate motherfuckers about the music industry and all this shit. He had like blonde hair. I was like, I'm finna be the black entrepreneur out this bitch. So so I came just strictly talking about royalties and songwriting and all of this other shit. And I'm like, damn, I'm getting 100 views, which at the time I felt decent about it because I'm like, okay, I'm coming from 0.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I couldn't fully invest into YouTube at the time because I'm like, I can't put so much time into this if I'm not getting anything out of it. And she's like, hey, you probably should, take on broader topics, about what's going on, and you could tie it into the business. And, so she kind of outlined this whole shit before I was willing to accept that there was a way to do it. Cause I had the same thing. I'm like, man, I really don't want to talk about these niggas going through all this crazy shit. Cause there's plenty of crazy shit.
You sound like me right now, bro. This shit is a part of me is dying all over again. Cause I remember this, and I remember being standing on my peg. What's good, delete it? I remember standing on my peg. I was like, but baby, I'm somebody too. And I'm making music, and I'm here because I don't want to talk about these niggas all day long. And then one day, but I don't want to jump the gun. But yeah, one day that changed. But continue.
Yeah, for sure. And same shit over here, bro. Cause I just was like, man, cause at the time, I still had this idea, like I'm going to be among these niggas and it's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I didn't really understand, like it took for me to like have my own realization to really get to it. And the realization that I came to, it was like off the YouTube spectrum, but just in my independent walk period, I was like, bruh, if I'm independent, I am not confined to the rules that these niggas play by. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth. And
so that
proceed.
Nah, you right on time. So that influenced me in terms of how I make my music, the type of music I wanted to even like venture into. Because at one point I was like trying to make this really like mainstream palatable type shit. I was trying to dumb down my lyrics if I could, like all this other stuff. And then that also played a role in how I wanted to do YouTube, because it was like trying to do safe content, not to be confrontational, not to like rub people the wrong way, trying to be this real squeaky clean type nigga, which, yeah, I'm that. But at the same time, like we all talk about this shit. Like the artists in the game talk about each other's shit. Like, let's be real.
We all doing, and also what did you land your point? Because I mean, there's definitely something I want to add to that. Is that
you go ahead.
My thing in the same boat, bro, was my moment that I had a click, and I started to like, because even when I first started doing reaction videos, it was like the other day Jermaine Dupri said something, and this is what he said. Isn't that grand? Thank you for subscribing, like, and love. And then it was like, nigga, what is your opinion? You imagine a sports show where you're like, yesterday LeBron James played basketball. He missed some shots and he made some shots, but that's basketball. Okay, back to you, Stephen A. Like, nobody want to see that shit. I didn't want to see this shit. And I was still kind of like being really soft around the edges about it until I figured out, I was like, your brain is saying something different than what you actually are saying in this moment out loud. What are you doing? Then I had a homie of mine. He's actually Atlanta based too, my homie Epic to Don. He was like, I couldn't watch your videos. And I said, why? He said, I didn't see you in them.
Damn.
That's somebody who's known me 10 years, 15 years plus. He said, I couldn't see you in them. And that's when I realized like I was doing. Here's a thought that I had that fucked me up, bro. You know what it's like when you're pursuing the industry, and you know what it's like to get on code, and you're like, okay, there's certain things that I can't do to be accepted by the industry. There's
Right.
certain things that I can't do if I want to be invited in certain rooms. And you kind of like take that on as a kind of a personality or kind of your new mode. I realize I've been walking around here acting like I'm signed, even though I'm independent. Like acting like I'm shackled by somebody else's standards of how I should handle myself when I'm actually independent, but I'm not using my independence.
Absolutely.
Independent thought, independent music. You just said it earlier. The formulas that sometimes we create with the music, like, oh, damn, can I go too complex with this? Because what about the audience? And it's like, imagine if Basquiat felt that way. Imagine if the Beatles was like, nah, bro, we're not going to use all these multi-channels. We don't have the technology to keep up with that. We don't have the band, because at one point in time they had so many instruments that they put in the multi-tracks that they couldn't play them. They couldn't do it live.
Yep.
But somebody got to do that shit. Somebody got to be the one that jumps in here and breaks the mold. And so I salute you, because that shit, bro, I don't think audiences realize it. Like, damn, it's like a lot of work. I'm pretty sure. Same thing with you on yourself to become this person.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because ultimately, just like coming back to Epic the Don's point, like it was really more so of a journey to come back to being myself rather than trying to be this other nigga, man. Like, I don't know who that nigga was, man. So
who was you trying to
like even down to my southern accent, right? I would try to like take that out and speak proper and like it was the news.
Oh, you went through that too. Well, I don't feel alone no more. I don't feel alone. This is my dog. I don't feel alone no more. I swear to you, bro. I was sitting in certain videos and I was like, rappers and music producers, Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com. And today I want to, and I was like, hey, whose man's is this?
Sound like a radio promo.
Yeah, but like at the same time, we came up in a different time where when you do that, that shit can get you looks.
Yeah.
Right? That can get you sponsors, right? It makes you a safer bet for sponsors. But thank God, I feel like that kind of pivoted to where even the sponsors are realizing that shit don't sell nothing. This is not 1950s marketing. Right. That's why when you see these Manscaped ads, niggas will be right in the middle of a conversation and be like, hey man, let's talk about your balls.
Right.
I never thought we'd get to a day like that where they just jump into a commercial like that. But that's what I'm saying is that if your audience love J Nolan for being J Nolan, why would you stop him from being J Nolan so that you could sell a product? Why do you think that's going to sell the product?
Yep. And shit, the more that I began to like sit in my own, like, this is me, this is what I'm doing. I mean, the opportunities came, you know what I'm saying? Because at one point I was like super like music business news centric, and that shit did get opportunities.
Yeah.
Because it started getting people to like get me to be, I'm gonna pay you to come speak at this event over here. So I was like, okay, bet.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was a shortage of people within our culture that was willing to do it. So I stepped into that shit wholeheartedly, but at the same time, it wasn't all that I could have been doing. So now, just to fast forward, I'm really just being comfortable. Like, nigga, this is me. Like, this is my perspective. And I see that although that may rub some people the wrong way, it creates an opportunity to expand even further. And it gives you, because some days it do get slow.
Yeah.
It gives you those extra pieces of content to just be like, all right, nigga, that's how you feel. Well, let me say how I feel then.
Well, let me ask you a very, very, very rare and specific question about this point right here. What was the first time like where it was awkward? And then a follow-up question in terms of like, was there ever an awkward moment where you're covering the story on somebody and you're like, how much do I put on this? Like, how much do I put in terms of my own opinion on this? Or did you come out the gate swinging
Oh man, it took a minute. So I think honestly, if we're gonna keep it a buck,
Yeah, keep it a buck.
it took for the fucking battle last year.
Same,
With
same,
with the back
same.
and forth, cause like, all right, I'm a Kendrick fan through and through. I've been a fan of this nigga since 2009.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was tough because when the fan bases get involved, it's like an expectation of, okay, this nigga did swing, but is it okay for me to say that another nigga swung back? You know what I'm saying? And at a certain point, it wasn't even about Drake. It was about I told this to Chapo the other day, the Meet the Grams joint, right? So Meet the Grams came out. I'm like, lyrically, this nigga going crazy. The element of the spooky shit was awesome.
Right.
But at the time, I knew who the competitor was. I said, because I felt like the first person to make a hit record out of the beef was going to be able to control the narrative. So I'm like, damn, I need this nigga Dot to goddamn come on with it. I'm like,
days in between felt a lot longer than what the calendar says, bro.
Right. So I was like, man, this nigga need to come on and knock this nigga out. So that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know this dude over here, I know how he play. So if he come out with the song that get niggas dancing and all that shit, it's gonna be a different story. So when I said that, when Meet the Grams came out, niggas got in my comments and was going ham on my ass. They was like, man, what the fuck? I thought you liked Kendrick, nigga. I thought you was a fan. I'm like, damn.
Now you gotta really they forcing you to bring out the real you then, because then it's like, I ain't gonna let y'all niggas talk to me like
I ain't no little bitch now. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm supposed to goddamn not come back on YouTube? Like, what the fuck?
But you know what I learned? Sometimes this is where I'm grateful for trolls. By the way, let me make sure I'm clear about this. I reached out to J Nolan because I wanted to have a conversation. And we're having a back and forth dialogue, which is why the thumbnail, Stewie, says discussion.
Discussion, yeah.
So if it feels like I'm interjecting a lot into the conversation, it's because we came into this with the the notion that we're gonna have a conversation because we have so many things in common. I just got questions for my guy, but also too in the midst of it, you'll get to know more about me in the process. So this is not me all of a sudden interjecting more of myself into the conversation. We already had that discussion. So I just want to make that clear. Perhaps we'll save that in terms for an interview at another time, but I just want to make sure you're clear about that's what's going on here today. But go ahead. No, I just want, only thing I was going to say about that is, like, sometimes I appreciate trolls because they saying sometimes what's already a voice in your head, but you're like, man, nobody thinking about that. And then you see it red, you see it out there and you're like, oh shit. Oh, they see me. All right, fuck it then. I'm gonna have to let's get to it then. So you said that there was people that that started kind of like getting at you, I guess, for supporting those earlier Drake diss records.
It wasn't even the support of Drake diss, you know what I'm saying? Because I would call out like what I liked about his shit, because I wanted to be, my whole objective was to be objective about the situation. But it was really when I said Meet the Grams, I was like, this song is hard, but it's not what I'm looking for. Because I was ready for what turned out to be Not Like Us. I'm like, bruh, you gotta beat this nigga to the punch on this shit.
Yeah.
So when I said those things, it was people that interpreted that as, oh, you ain't a real fan.
Oh god.
And I'm like, and that's when I came right back on YouTube and I said, bro, y'all can't tell me who I'm a real fan of. What the fuck? Like, I've been listening to this nigga before half y'all niggas even got on board. Y'all ain't finna tell me shit.
Yeah.
So I had to, I'm like, bro, you could look up the motherfucking tweets. Like, I hit this nigga back in 2009 on Twitter, nigga. Y'all wasn't even there.
Come on.
So, but coming to YouTube and being real and being transparent about stuff like that, people was like, okay, this nigga is a real one, you know what I'm saying? Because people, they'll try to test you. The trolls, some of the biggest trolls have turned into huge supporters because they see, okay, he ain't getting knocked off his square. You know what I'm saying? I shit, man, I just had to make an example out of nigga a couple weeks ago, and this is before all this other shit.
Right.
So Shout out to DL Bark.
Hold on, can I put a pin in this?
Yep.
That is the most YouTube commentary quote that you gonna ever fucking hear. We've all said those same words at the same time. He said, I had to make an example out of somebody before this other shit. Why is that so relatable? Before this other shit. This is a constant. People don't. I think people, man, they may be envious of you, may be envious of the work that we get to do. I don't think they recognize that if you're not confident in your skin, if you don't know who you are, you're literally doing content that's going to attract people who also are just as opinionated about everything.
Yep.
What you were saying, the person specifically.
Oh no, yeah, DL Bark. He the homie now. But crazy shit was I was talking about, shout out to the homie Chapo. And if y'all don't know who Chapo is, y'all should check him out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a whole scandal going on around his name.
Yeah, developing. So, I just saw something this morning too. I'm like, golly.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm covering dude, like trying to give him his just due because people are trying to discredit his whole entire history in the game. Mm-hmm. And as I'm documenting this dude DL Bark jumps in my comments and he was like, I call cap on you, J Nolan. You ain't really who you say you are. And he started using y'all as like his reference points. He says, nobody that I watch in this space knows who you are. They don't cite you as a reference. And I'm like, word? All right. So I made a video.
Y'all so messy. What y'all doing?
That was beautiful. It's all good.
Okay.
Because that gave me because you know, doing this content shit, like it can derail you from even giving like watering your garden with the music shit.
Mm-hmm. So because you know what's gonna come with that for sure.
Right. So or even just like the attention, like the hours in a day.
Yeah.
So what I did was I'm like, okay, I'm nobody. I ain't never did shit. I'm gonna make a whole video just broadcasting what I've done. You know what I'm saying? So I broadcasted me on Dead End Hip Hop, talking to them, you know what I'm saying, who are some OGs in this space. You know what I'm saying?
Man. Shut up. I just did a episode recently, man. They're very, very much needed in this space and where we're going right now for sure.
So all of the shit, fucking stuff on TV, film, everything. I just like everything that I could salvage, I put that shit in one video. And I said, now tell me that I'm not reputable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he came back just a couple of days ago and was like, bruh, I was tripping. Man, you know what I'm saying? And he cool. Shit. So now we good. But if you cut that off, like, and just write everybody off as a troll, you could miss out on shit like that too. Like just keeping that open hand. Cause it's like, I don't have to prove shit. But it was a reminder to like let niggas know, yeah, I'm not just a talking head on this fucking screen, nigga. Like,
yeah,
I got a life before this shit,
bro.
And if niggas want to talk about it, we could talk about it. I'm prepared.
Yeah, my favorite quote is from one of my former managers. He would always say, like, in explaining to somebody, like, I just need you to know I'm not just a guy. I'm not just a guy that popped up here with a few hot takes and you know, because you like my personality or whatever the case may be, you can check my Carfax, you can check the history, you can see that. You would hope if you're informed that you could see that this is an informed opinion, that this is an opinion that is built not just on, oh yeah, I know about it because I did it, but because I did it at a high level, I'm still doing it. Yeah. Those are things that I think are very crucial. But I wonder if this happened for you. There was a point in time for me where I had to like really understand what I was becoming because of the amount of time I was spending on YouTube, right? When YouTube started taking off, it was very interesting to see like, damn, okay, them YouTube revenue checks is coming every month.
Right.
Okay, like, all right. And this is like early on, coming every month. Okay. And it got to the point where it was rivaling the money that I was making selling beats online. That was my main source of income. And I was like, yo, what would happen if I went all the way in on this? Because the money keep going up. The beat selling is like whatever money you got in terms of advertisement that month, there's a cap, right? This was interesting. So I had stopped selling beats and I started doing YouTube full time. And yeah, bro, it really does kind of redefine or make you redefine who you are? Did you ever have a moment where, you know, you kind of had to like look at this and say, okay, am I a rapper that has a YouTube, or am I now becoming a YouTuber that makes high music at a high level?
Shit, man, I feel like I feel like that's a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know which one it is, to be honest, because YouTube is I now look at YouTube as like, for lack of better terms, like my day job.
Mm,
And music is like when I clock out, all right, do I have an opportunity to go mess with this? Some
yeah.
days I don't, a lot of days I don't. But when I do, I know I'm gonna come out with something good. You know what I'm saying? And now on the other side of it, you know, because I was hesitant to even start putting my music on the intro and outro of my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Same, bro.
So that was
Same.
a whole nother thing, especially looking at YouTube, because everybody is about like that instant gratification. What is that 15-second hook gonna be? Like, what's gonna capture people? And again, it took for my wife to be like, nah, you better put that fucking song on there. Like, don't get that shit
Yeah.
twisted. Like, you still want to, you know what I'm saying? So it
Like,
took reinforcement.
dog, how many podcasts do we watch? Niggas ain't good. They're not good at music, but you know what they not? They're not afraid to share that shit.
Right.
They're not afraid to put that, like, bro, I didn't seen podcasts, I didn't seen YouTube videos where I'm like, you gonna put the whole song, my boy, before I get to the story? And I'm like, this shit ain't even good. like,
Yeah.
and I'm not even I'm not here for that. And I think when I had those kind of opinions, I was like, oh shit, maybe there's somebody out there that feels the same way about my music. But then it's like, well, what are we doing this for? Right? If somebody comes to Curtis King TV or J Nolan's YouTube, at some point, the general consensus is that they're there for you.
Yep.
Right? If they keep coming back, they're there for you. If they keep coming back for specific stories, they're there for specific stories. But when they subscribe, right? People don't understand, like, when people say, like, oh, you got fans. No. There's steps that this goes through. There's I forget the name of the author, but there's a book about building a fan base, and he talks about there's casual fans, there's active fans, there's community, and then there's super fans. And people, like, there's a lot of artists, a lot of our peers think, oh, it's just your fans. And it's like, no, there's some people who check their email every time you send something out. There's some people who have been hovering around casual because you just keep doing stories about Drake and Kendrick.
Right.
It may take a good 6 months. It may take a good 6 months before that person moves to active. And then active means that you're going to be around these amazing, beautiful people that are sitting in a chat right now. And they're like, yo, this chat kind of funny. Y'all got a Discord? Boom, community. And then eventually it's like, yo, I'm paying for the Patreon. Hey, J Nolan got some merch. I'm about to pay for that. Super fan. This shit takes time, which is why when you see a content creator and you're like, oh, their viewership is down. It's like, dog, do you know how many shots it takes to set a record like Steph Curry? Right. You know how many shots he took before he took the shots in the game? Like, you got to let folks cook, but that's a very important aspect for sure.
Yeah, man. And, you know, and it took for people to like encourage it, to be like, damn, what's that song? What's that? You know, to really be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to keep doing that. Cause even at one point, like, I had them bitches in the front and then I took them out. And then niggas whooped my ass in the comments for that. It's J Nolan, where your damn intro at? I said, shit.
You know what? You know what's crazy? That's shout out to the you call your folks the insiders, right?
Insiders, absolutely.
Shout out to the insiders. Shout out to the DIYers, bro. It's positive bullying. It's positive bullying because you know what they did to me? They was like, Curtis, you take all that time making these products and you go hard for about a month selling it and making sure that you're active, and then you just let that shit go and you don't never tell people you got shit to sell. So you better plug your shit. And I was like, I be forgetting, like I be so into the content. I'm actually passionate about what I'm doing that sometimes I get detached from this is a job. And so we ended up doing was I made like a little 30-second jingle where I was like, Curtis King, you gotta plug your shit. And it just turned into this whole thing. We got graphics and all of this shit, but like we have to make sure we keep that at the forefront. This is why I continue to do a series called Flocation, which by the way, if you ever here on the West Coast, we definitely got to do an episode. But
Absolutely.
I do this because it's like I need to first of all keep myself sharp because I love doing this. If I wasn't doing YouTube, I'd be making music still. But I also need you to understand these thoughts are not coming from the mind of somebody who's guesstimating. Like you're talking to somebody who is a veteran in this. And I think sometimes you have to make it a responsibility to remind people either through your intro, through adding a mid-roll, whatever the case is. So I salute you for continuing to make that a priority.
Oh man, and shout out to the niggas on YouTube with garbage music too. You know what I'm saying? Because
oh shit, I was not of all the shout outs, I was not expecting that one to happen today. Yo, shout out to these niggas with that garbage music. Hey man, keep on underachieving, my God.
Cause you said it, the confidence, right?
Yeah.
So I've been to some niggas shit where they music is putrid in the intro, you know what I'm saying? And they should have take, 12 minutes before they get on screen. You know what I'm saying? They should be loading forever.
Don't be caring about shit. What you
know
mean
what I'm saying?
Watch time. You got a fast forward button. You got a fast forward button. Do your thing.
So I'm like, bro, if I could sit through this nigga shit for 10 minutes, y'all could sit through 90 seconds of mine. Come the fuck on. For real.
That's what it is. That's because it's true. It's true. Because I think because do you edit your own content as well?
Yeah, I try not to edit as much as possible, but yeah, I do.
When I was editing aggressively, or when I was making like when I make my micro content, I'm very much always thinking about, is this getting boring? Is this like, it's almost like when you're writing bars, you're like, is this filler? Is this filler? Well, let's cut this out. Do I need to have this many ums and pauses? Let's get to it. Because of that hyper focus, it's almost like a Mr. Beast approach sometimes to editing, right? Because of that programming and conditioning, I think sometimes I ended up like cutting my music short to the point where I had it like as a mid-roll, and then people were like, okay, Curtis, why you only give us 15 seconds? I was like, because I know y'all didn't come here for my music. You came here for Drake and him cutting his hair off.
Exactly. Yep. And then you'll get a couple folks that try to shoot your shit down. Like,
of course,
this music is trash. But then it's like you look at they profile. It's like, nigga, I could see all the comments you left on my shit. You ain't been positive once. Why would I take you serious?
I'm sorry. I have embraced, because before I didn't like to give trolls the satisfaction of blocks. I don't want you to have something that you can screenshot and show off to your friends. Like, look, I got to them. So I used to let them get their shit off. This year, I have fully embraced what the ladies say. They say they soft air. I've embraced my block air. It's my block air. This is my block air. I am embracing my block air, because boy, oh boy, when I tell you, some folks be relentless, and I'll be like, I wouldn't want to be around you in real life. Why am I entertaining this?
Mm-hmm.
It's the internet. I can go wherever I want. Nah. This happens to be my business that YouTube let me get some property on. And if I got the ability to block you, that means that I have the ability to use it. If I got moderators, that means they have the ability to moderate. And I do feel like that's partly the reason why this community, even though it's large, feels so close. Because I think a lot of folks come in here and realize, like, I'm not one of these like streamers, and shout out to them who are like, we got 70,000 people. And then you look at the chat and it's just nothing but emojis and all kind of wild shit that they got to blur. At least in here, I'm like, dog, it's grown folks having grown conversations who are definitely with the shits. First of all, they already pissing me off. J Nolan. I'm going to ask you this question before.
Okay.
Andre F says he needs to know if J Nolan wears the Before Christ 12s.
Before Christ 12s. What's that?
They talking about my New Balances, my 96.
Oh, okay.
I
No
told them
doubt.
how comfortable it was, and they was like, "Damn, Monk, you out here like that?"
I did see you put the New Balance up yesterday.
Not you seeing that, and then they mean like, "Yeah, I might have seen that, Curtis." Oh man,
Yeah. Well, I don't have the Before Christ 12s. I will say that, but I'm not against them. All right.
You ain't got to be political because you on here with me. I ain't
No.
never hog-tied nobody. I ain't never
Nah.
hog-tied nobody. All I did was get some New Balances, and y'all gonna leave me. Andy, look at Andre up over here just eating it up. I ain't never hog-tied nobody. Leave me in them New Balances alone. Y'all, every day you come up, they call it Miss Rec 2, you call it the Paw 12s, and it just hurt. The rest of the day, I was just like quietly hurt.
Hey man, folks don't understand. Like, we on screen, baby. Like, all you need to know is this. I can have some straight bullshit on under here. You know this right here.
You know how many times the bottom didn't match the top? You know how many times I came in here and you know how many times I put something on because a story, like for instance, the Luther video had just dropped. I said, you ain't finna see no pants. Plus, I learned a valuable lesson last month, and I don't know if you caught wind of this, and no pun intended when I say this. I like going vertical stream live, right? Because I like it's organic. It gives people an opportunity to be like really, really like having a real casual conversation. It's not overproduced.
Yeah.
Anyways, I started getting in my comedic bag, and I started getting in my physical comedic bag, and I like backed away from the camera, and I turned around, and like I did like a Hadouken, and then here they already know. Look at it. We saw the crack.
This up is crazy.
And I get a text message from one of my moderators, shout out Courtney. She says, please don't say this out loud, but your whole crack came out on video. And I was like, was it like bad? And I came back and the whole chat was saying shit like only cheeks.
Oh shit.
They was leaving super chats. Plumber's crack. They was leaving super chats. Somebody in here, I ain't gonna say who, not the peach. Somebody in here sent me an actual video that they had recorded. You know how fast I ran to the YouTube settings to hit the no DVR? So niggas couldn't rewind that shit. You know how fast I went there, and then someone got it, and then they sent me in a DM and I said, I bet you're gonna be more nice to me now, huh?
Damn.
I said, whatever you want. And then I watched the video and I was like, it looked like more back than anything, but it was still like, damn, am I spending too much time? So, and then the next day, bro, I had to critique my Beats episode, and the first comment I saw was this right here. Critique my cheeks at me.
I have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Not critique my cheeks.
So what I'm basically getting at is, how has YouTube humbled you?
Damn. I don't think I've had that experience yet. God willing, I won't.
Please
but
don't. No, don't say but. Don't say but, bro.
That's
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, damn.
You a rapper. You can't say shit. You see, I look, slow it down. I just dished. You can't do that. He gonna say, I ain't never happened, but
I fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's an important thing too, man. When did you really start to see your subscribers go from subscribers to like actual community that you memorize names? Like, do you remember that point in time for you?
Oh man, this was last year, bro. Like, I want to say, because like the moment I saw like the shift was right after Megan Thee Stallion came out with the diss on Nicki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? And I covered that motherfucker, and it was like from that moment, my channel just kept growing. And from that, because I guess all the negativity created positive shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I started seeing those names in the chat, and it was like, I still see those names in the chat. Some of them I don't see as often, but it's like they're still here, and it kind of let me know, like, yeah, I am building a community here, and it kind of lets me know, like, when the new people come and they don't really know what's going on and they start spewing shit out their neck, it's like, bruh, you not gonna tell me how to run the ship over here. You just got here. You know what I'm saying? And you can leave. And I think a lot of people aren't used to, people in this position actually saying, nigga, you can leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They really think that you supposed to like, cow down and be like, bro, please watch my content.
Please unsubscribe.
Yeah. It's like, dog, take your ass off before I flame your ass.
Look, you know how many people I didn't have to tell, dog, if you want to unsubscribe, you don't gotta do a show. I don't need a show. I just want to let you know today was the day I unsubscribed. I'm like, get your Karen ass out of here. We gonna be all right. Shit. If you leaving because you seen something that's really the real me, go and take your ass. I don't need man. What is the performance for? Oh,
take your goddamn hall pass with you.
Take your hall pass with you.
You know what I'm saying? You need to be tripping.
We do be tripping. Let me ask you this. This, bro, because this is something I did notice when you popped up on the news feed, right? I first started watching you when I saw your Even video. About the Even a platform where they direct to consumer and all the amazing things they do for independent artists. Shout out to them. And you were actually one of the first videos that introduced me to that. But as I started to see you get more into the news and I started to see you talk about more so of the trending topics, one thing I did notice was how you prioritize what was going on in the female rap space. And I thought that was dope. I'm gonna be honest with you. What you do there, I was terrified to do. I might still be a little bit terrified because when I thought that rap niggas like was the most passionate about their favorite rappers, I learned something different, bro, about these tribes that are behind their favorite artists. Mm-hmm. But you get right here in the middle of some of the stuff that's going on, and I'm like, man, I be looking like I be nervous for you, like, oh shit, I be seeing the names on the thumbnail, I be like, what kind of made you want to get into making sure that was prioritized to cover those stories with like the Meg Thee Stallions and all the different artists that are out here?
So honestly, I saw the shift before it even hit. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I gotta shout out my wife, man. Like, she was already bumping a lot of this music, so I was getting acclimated to it. And at first I was a little apprehensive to it because I'm like, okay, it's coming from a familiar place. Like, I know the Lil Kims, I know all of the history behind it, but I'm like, damn, this shit is scandalous. But but I'm like, they can rap. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn. And I noticed nobody was doing it. And the people that were, they was getting in the middle of like some certain stuff, which I don't necessarily want to do. But I'm going to give my opinion. Like, I want to cover hip hop, and the women are absolutely a part of hip hop. They've been here since the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how many people knew this shit, but Angie Stone was like one of the first rappers, period. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
last month, I should say, rest in peace.
Yeah. So it's like, I want to give them the same level of respect, time, and spotlight as the men. And at a certain point, the dudes was dropping music that I was just like, y'all just going in the studio making anything anyway. I don't even got shit to talk about from you niggas.
These niggas don't even want to rap no more. Like, do you know how excited I was when I heard Monta Leo?
Yeah.
Get off that die holy, like the folio. You gonna be with Tupac when I come shoot up that studio. I said,
yeah, that was crazy.
I said, oh, I told my wife, I said, how volatile, how violent. Repeat it again. I want to hear this.
Yeah, they popping shit.
God, like Glorilla, like it's a few that I was late to the party, and it had more so to do with my own biases, and that the if it wasn't like the Rhapsodies, if it wasn't the legends, the Lauryn Hills, the Jean Grays, I kind of had to find like who are the ones that are kind of the healthy balance between, because it's the same thing of like I don't want to listen to a male rapper talk about like, I'm gonna take your B, I'm gonna take this, I'm making all this money, and it's like, but who are you? What is the art that you're creating? I don't want to hear it for anybody. But
Yeah,
I'm telling you, bro, when I
what made
first
me
heard
flip the script?
Monteo, yeah.
What made me flip the script was I had to really like sit down and say, how many niggas died in the music that I've consumed from
Whoa,
male rappers?
whoa.
So how can I police what the women are talking about when every song, if we do the per capita on how many deaths happen in this song, like
Yeah.
death is way worse than twerking. So
Somebody gonna have to tell the
One
truth, and
time
I'm
for the
gonna
one
tell it.
time. Whoa, yeah.
so I had to like reconstruct how I perceived it. You know what I'm saying? And once I got that out the way, I'm like, shit, let's just have fun with this shit, man. Like, because I do feel like the element of fun in hip hop has greatly deduced
Yeah.
over the years. You know what I'm saying? And it was like the women that kind of brought that element back to get people back moving, get people back amped. So I was like, hell yeah, I want to be a part of that.
I'm telling you, bro, that Monoleo song, bro, that shit. My wife turned that shit on. I'll be like, is she? Because she said, she said, I'm Judge Judy ho. She said something in that Yu-Gi-Oh. I said, why is she barring up more than you niggas out here who talking about you the best rappers out here? Because I don't. The thing I'm learning as I kind of mature as an artist and I mature as a listener is that there's a lot of artists that I gave a lot of benefit of the doubt because they got grandfathered in. But even Styles, they got grandfathered in. I kind of had this feeling that, or this theory, all of them underground hip hop heads, right, that said, I can't stand this mumble rap. I can't stand, they ain't saying a ducka da ducka da ducka da ducka da. It's so funny how you could turn around and be like, nigga, some of y'all be talking about and shimmers on, shimmers on, that Shaggy meme and all of that, or Shiggy meme, the Shiggy video. It's like you're literally recycling the same starter pack, boom bap beat, sample, soul sample with vocals, talking about astrology, talking
Yeah,
about
that nigga said the astronomical, the back of bottle.
you're literally
Damn.
doing the same thing, except yours don't come with Gucci. Yours don't
Hey
come with,
man.
but it's the same ideology of
So
repeating what's been done.
Soul Sample's been saving niggas for years, man.
Oh my gosh, saving absolute nonsense too. You ever go back to a song that you absolutely felt like? Okay, I'm gonna put one out there, and I hope he don't. I'm gonna see him soon, I'm sure. I hope he don't get the wrong idea. Dom Kennedy did this shit to me, bro. It's a song called A Dream to Me. It's a dream to me. He said, is that ass getting bigger, girl? You know I'm still a nigga, girl. I want to sit with you. Come here. Let me kiss on you. I was like, the way my brain remembered it the first time I heard it, I didn't realize how hypnotized by the beat that I got. And I'm not saying every song needs to be deep and multi-layered, but I heard it and I was like, I looked at my wife and I said, respectfully, what is this nigga talking about?
Damn.
And I love Dom Kennedy music. I heard it. I was like, what is this nigga? It's got to be a freestyle. It's got to be a freestyle. But I think now, man, and I want to get your opinion on this, is you're right. The element of fun is coming back. I'm seeing artists like Doechii that got me really, really excited. I was late to her project. When I finally heard it, I was like, dog, she could do it all. She can do it all. And when those come around, they don't come around all the time. The artists that we already mentioned. So the after effects of this battle, right? We've talked about this at length, and I didn't really want to put too much focus on that. But it seems like things are in a very interesting direction, or going in an interesting direction. And it feels like a direction that for content creators and artists / artists like ourselves may be very favorable, because I can tell the care, the time, and the passion that you have for your craft, right? I hear it in your music. Same thing with me, which is why I share my process on Flowcation. Where do you see things going, proceeding forward now?
Well, I can say that I feel like they definitely upped the ante on like expectations for music. You know what I'm saying? Because I saw, and I talked about it on my channel last year, because at one point people was like, Nolan, you just want to see beef. And I'm like, no, I don't.
First of all, Ayo, but yeah, continue.
Right. Hell no, I don't want to see no beef. But
I had to stop myself telling somebody I ain't here to beef for you. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna say that no more.
Right.
You
But yeah, like people were saying that, and I'm like, no, like what it did was it created the thirst for quality. And then when other people after that whole thing, you know, it went somewhere else, it went online, and you know, all the mystery shit started coming into effect.
Mhm.
Other artists was like, okay, it's safe to start dropping music again, and it was not captivating. So
Mhm.
now, you know, again, maybe beef does contribute to it, because of course we started this year with the whole Joey Badass and the Ray Vaughn and all that type of thing. But
Do
what
we
it
even, we
did
even count
was
that? Do we even count that anymore? J Nolan, do we even
I'm
let's have a rap,
I count it in terms of
let's have a rapper talk right now. Do you really
yeah,
count that shit that just happened? And then he just like walking back. I seen Rob Markman had a headline that said Joey says, I didn't watch the video. It said Joey says he wasn't even trying to get out the West with that.
come on, man. I ain't even from the West, but come on, man. Too much West Coast D-licking.
What? In this climate?
You can't put that in a song and not expect nothing.
How you know I wasn't talking about West Coast customs? How you know I'm not a fan of Pit My Ride?
Right.
Sensitive.
Come on, man. But as much as people may not want to count it, I count it in terms of like, because we saw what he did, and it was like, that's not enough. And I think that began like a shift, because it was like, all right, well, if you're gonna step out and try to claim you're the best, then we need to hear that quality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then that also put the spotlight on other people who may have been lesser known, like Coyote and shit like that, where it was like, oh shit, like it's a whole movement of motherfuckers that can go. And now they're getting the spotlight because it's like, let me just put my bid in and let you know, nigga, you're not finna play with us.
Yeah.
So I think from that standpoint, there is the thirst for like, okay, what's gonna be the next impactful hip hop record or artist that actually steps into the light to like actually take the reins? Because I mean, as much as we want to see like Kendrick dominate, we know Kendrick, he move at his own pace. So we can't wait on him all day. Somebody else, other people got to come out and be the artist that we want to see.
Right.
So taking it from that standpoint, people hear my intros or what have you, and they like, J Nolan, like, I love your content, but where's the album? So then that became a thing.
Well, let's move into that conversation, because, you know, every time I think I got a system, my creative system changes again, right? For many years, there was never a recording of me, video recording of me making music, right? Then I got here to my YouTube channel, and I don't think there hasn't been many times that I wasn't making music with the camera on, only because I know the necessity of having all that is behind the scenes stuff going on, and repurposing vertical content, all these different things that we need. Content is the name of the game, especially when you go direct to consumer. With that said, you know, how do you kind of strike a harmony? I notice I'm not saying balance, because I think balance is, sometimes we misuse that. How do you strike a harmony between the world of YouTube, where you're trending in an upward direction, you're growing it, people are having expectations, but then also too, we want to stay sharp. You're not just a guy that's gonna get on there and say bullshit. You're a lyricist, bro. Like, you're somebody who's gonna make sure that your pen is sharp. How are you able to kind of like carve that time out? Or, you know, how do you kind of systemize and harmonize both?
It's tough, man. So really, certain days where I just have to like be like, you know what, I'm gonna get this video out, and in the next 2 hours, I'm gonna lock in on this. You know what I'm saying? And it took a minute for me to strike a harmony on that, to actually record a project over the course of the last year. And it was like really tough for me to figure out, because again, this is in the midst of all this other shit going on and all of these different intricacies of, because you know, you got lawsuits, you got beefs, you got court cases, you got all this type of shit. Niggas getting beat up, niggas getting Ricos,
every
you know,
day.
the whole shit. So it's like, you know what? I'm good. Like I got a good video out. It's doing well. Let me just steal this next 2 hours and focus on my shit. And then if I got time, I'll come back to whatever else is going on. But I need to like lock in on this moment because I'm feeling inspired. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what did it, was just moving when the spirit was like, nigga, I have to put something down today. You know what I mean? And sometimes those days hit differently. So what it ended up doing was, on certain days where I know I still have to work, but I want to work on something, I'll just do like a quick exercise, you know what I'm saying? And I use it as an intro. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of turned into a thing. So to where now most of the primary lineup, because we kind of know the artists that are like public figures that do stuff for content. So now I have like a freestyle or an intro that coincides with each artist.
Oh wow.
And I may have a couple of them in the tuck to like switch through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To where when you come in, it already creates the vibe. Okay, we're talking about this person. But outside of that, you know, I would take that extra time and like, all right, I want to come out with the album or come out with a project, or I have something that I want to say. So, you know, this project that I ended up creating in the past year is called Family Over Fame. And that was a whole like mindset shift for me, because I'm like, okay, I'm coming into my golden years, I'll say, you know what I mean, to not age myself. Coming into my golden years.
We're getting better with, bro. Our whatever age that is, it's not the age that our elders are. Like I told my wife the other day, she was like, I seen you on your live stream taking off your shoe over here embarrassing me. I said, honey, my 40 is going to be very different than the 40 that you've seen as a version before, because life is very different.
Yep.
And we need some extra. 80s babies is just, we just cook different. I don't know if you 80s baby too, but I'm
at the tail end. I'm 89.
Okay, then you 80s baby. So we cook different. I think it's before they start putting lead in the food. Continue though.
So that could be a whole other thing. But for facts though, because I'm coming into this and it's like my vision, my intentions, like everything is different from when that Broken Dreams project came out in 2010. You know what I'm saying? My whole perspective of shit has changed. So when I came up with the Family Over Fame concept, it was like, shit, I'm married, I got a child, you know what I mean? And it's a balancing act between that to even get to the music.
They don't know, man.
So
I don't know, bro. Like how many steps it takes sometimes, especially because the young ones are very unpredictable.
Yep.
It's not like you can just wake up and be like, Drake did this, I guess I could put down everything that I'm doing right now. And man, that's something I look, let me be transparent as well, in that this is why I do all of my creative process on camera now, because I'm realizing, because I can chop anything up in terms of content and then I can make it a long form content later on. It gives me the opportunity to get rid of the FOMO of being in here for 8 hours, which I'll still do. Like I still love the solitude of creating. That's something I'll never lose. But there is some times where like I'm sitting here and I'm writing, I put my phone on do not disturb, and then like I get that one text message that comes through from one of my day ones, and it's like, Kendrick drop. And I just get that Malcolm X meme, like I want to do it. Like I'm trying to do it. I gotta live here. I'm trying to do this too. But then it's like, are you not gonna do that? Especially when you have a growing YouTube. So this is why I made Flowcation, because for me, I was like, okay, what y'all gotta understand is that when we really cook in these studios, it's not a microwave. Sometimes these ideas take a long time to bake for some of us. Some days you just don't have it like you have it. Some days you do have it. But no matter what it is, at least you know it's real. So what I started saying is, if I can get used to creating in front of people, then my craft will naturally advance with it. So now I get more chance and more at-bats to make music because I brought music to work. So like on Wednesdays, I'll sit here and I do a flocation, and that just makes me feel like I'm never losing touch with it. I did my project DIY too, the whole project. Matter of fact, the remix project I did with the GNX, the
Yep.
whole thing was done in the live stream. And I appreciate you too, bro, for doing a reaction to that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know, I don't ever do that part of it thinking that that's gonna end up as somebody's content, but I do appreciate you doing a reaction to that.
Absolutely, man. I mean, the shit was fire. Like, so that's the whole thing, you know what I mean? And that's another thing with the content too. It's like striking that balance between like what you kind of have a feeling is going to be like received well versus like what I actually like and care about. You know what I'm saying? And I want to strike a balance between those things to where it's like, nah, if Curtis King drop a remix project on GNX and I fuck with it, I'm gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I talk about an artist that people have never heard about, but it's like, okay, well, this video may not get the same views, but at least whoever catches it now knows who that person is. And that's what I want for someone to also do for me. So that's also a thing.
Yeah. I salute you for that, because I think when a lot of channels are number centric or number focused, they're trying to hit a home run every time they upload. And I'm not gonna act like I haven't been in that bag where I was like, man, I got some motion. All right, let me cover it. And then I do another video and I'm like, oh shit, it's like hitting the lottery. But then at some point you realize, am I really doing this to become a Drake update page? That's one side of it. But then the other side of it is, I got this on my board. You're telling stories to the future, not just your present audience, but you are telling stories to the future. And then I remember, like, dog, it's been so wild to watch how political hip hop commentary has become, or how much like politics has become, to the point where people will literally have video proof and still lie dead in your face like they don't see what they just saw, right? Or act like we don't have the same internet or the same Google. That's my favorite saying. We got the same internet, fam. And so I'm like, this is why it's important to document these things. One, because if I was a news outlet per se, quote unquote, I was just take my name out of it, I'd be expected to cover all the things that are happening. But the difference for me is I add opinion and commentary to it, which means that I have choice in terms of what I want to cover. And at some point, I just made the decision about Kanye to where it's like, I'm checking out. And even if I miss out on views, I'm checking out. I'd rather save that day to highlight another artist that I just know, based upon my spreadsheets, based upon my analytics. This is like Tyler's that for me, right? I know if I do a Tyler story or a Nipsey story, I don't know necessarily if it's not because they're not draws in terms of their name, but sometimes YouTube blacklists their name because of some other content they're trying to be proactive from being spread. For instance, like the unfortunate demise of Nipsey, his name for a long time to this day still kind of gets, I don't want to say not blacklisted, but it's limited in reach because
they want to suppress a little bit. Yep,
suppressed a bit, right? But you got to do those because it's like, first of all, for my enjoyment, because I got to be here for my own sanity, I got to cover these stories. I got to talk about some of the things I like. I know there's things that are trending, but you know what? I'd rather take an L. I'd rather take an L in terms of the daily views, just to be like, but I got that off, and I'm really proud of that. Let me ask you something about that, bro. Like, first of all, it sounds like you're intentional with that.
Yep.
But second of all, what's a story that you did or a video that you did that you still proud of to this day, but for whatever reason the algorithm didn't pick it up the way that you thought it would?
Shit, bruh. I just did one of them. Ironically, it was around Nipsey and Black Sam with the Marathon Burger. You know, when I talked about that, like, I felt like that should have definitely gotten way more love, way more support, you know, but I saw the algorithm play with that one, you know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, how are we not talking about this? And then unfortunately, the content surrounding that I did see, it was about the confrontation that took place or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And I didn't cover that part of it, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't feel like I belonged to be talking about it, you know what I'm saying? Because that ain't for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know the background that caused that thing. So I can't be coming
I'm out
in.
here. I'm out here and I still
Right.
don't want to. You still didn't see me cover it because it's like folks got to be
Exactly.
careful when they talking about like there's politics out in Atlanta you'll never hear me talking about because it's like I don't know what I'm saying wrong in this situation.
Yeah. So it's definitely that, you know what I mean? But I'm like, damn, they talking about, you know, doing documentary on Nip and new music coming and all that type of shit. So I covered all of that in one concise video. I'm like, damn, we should be excited about this.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit like that, but I was proud of it, and I'm still proud of it because I'm like, no, this is, you know, because he was somebody who I was looking at. You know what I mean? If you're an independent artist of the last 10 years, there's no way you wasn't paying attention to what that man was doing.
Facts.
And influenced.
Yeah. Let's talk about it, bro. Let's talk about it because it's been a hell of a week for both of us. I'm gonna leave my situation out because I'm already mentally checked out and moving on. But man, you know, you had a very high profile interview that a lot of your audience was looking forward to. And shout out to you, man. I'm seeing you starting to fire up the interviews, man. Like I'm like maybe he's seeing the same thing that I'm seeing, in that we gotta have something for them days that these news stories is slow. Like it's been some stories I look back and I'm like, I'm never doing that shit again.
Yeah.
I am
shit,
never,
man. It wasn't even that for me. It was honestly organic.
Yeah,
you know, because I didn't know motherfuckers wanted to come on my shit. You know what I mean? So the whole Chapo thing that came about was when I talked about him, and then they tried to discredit the story.
For those who don't know, who is Chapo?
All right, bet. So Chapo he's an artist, he's a songwriter, and he's been out in this hip hop thing since he was a kid. Right? Signed his first record deal 14, 15 years old. He had moved to the West Coast from Brooklyn, and you know, some Drake leaks came out that got associated with his name of possibly, you know, being a part of what we heard. I got to be safe about how I cover this, right?
Yeah.
But that was the speculation. And I saw like 5, 6 people online that was like, that clip sounds like Chapo. So I went and looked him up, and I did like a video. I did about 2 videos talking about him. And by the time I did the second video, I'm like, yo, Chapo, man, I feel like I'm your PR right now, bro. I would love for you to come talk to us, you know?
Right.
So from that point, it was like a spiral of shit just started happening surrounding his name. Like the Joe Budden podcast talked about the situation, and they acted like they didn't know who he was. Then I did some research, and it was like, how y'all don't know him when he was fucking with y'all at one point? Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why are people trying to discount who this person is when the facts are out there? It's not even like been removed from Google. It's there. So some people from his side, you know, his camp, from the Chop Shop, they started reaching out to me on his behalf because he wasn't sure, you know, how to like handle the situation. Because of who his name was being associated with. It was like, shit, man, I don't know if I want to touch that. So they started reaching out to me, and we talked, and eventually we had a conversation behind the scenes, and I wanted to make him comfortable. Like, bro, I'm not like, I know what your name is out here for,
right?
But based on, I've done 5 videos on you now. Like, I know who you are. I see what you've done. I want to talk to you about what's tangible, not what's fan fiction or whatever the fuck it is, or whatever, however, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about your actual journey, that we can trace the steps to see how do we get from point A to Z. And of course, some of this other stuff may fall wherever it does in the story, if we even talk about it. But what about everything else? So we did that. And the day after the interview came out, you got who I call the DJ that don't spin. You know what I'm saying?
I never honk at nobody.
You know, his folks came out and basically tried to shit on the interview and act like he's just a fake. And they're like, oh, this is another K-bot theory getting debunked. And I'm like, a K-bot theory? Like, huh? So
You talking about hip Fox News? Not hip hop news, but hip Fox News.
yeah, exactly. The
Fox
DJ
Hop
that don't
News.
spin and them niggas, man. So
Because and the Grand Wizard,
yeah.
I seen that, I
No,
was like, I fell for you, bro, because I remember when the DJ that don't spin went live and then took your whole thumbnail.
yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing right now?
That shit had my name on it still.
That shit still, I mean, you and I think you had a really good attitude about it where you were like, because I for sure wouldn't have seen it like that. I'd have been like, nigga, take my shit down. But you said, got my name on it. I'll take that. I'll take whatever viewership that brings.
Yeah, because especially at that time, because I mean, he took my shit
Yeah.
in the middle of the battle. I'm like, damn, okay.
For reference, for those that don't know, DJ Akademiks is obviously who we're talking about. The people were hitting J Nolan up. I was one of them, and I was like, I saw this live, and I was like, oh, shout out to J Nolan. He got like 4,000 people in there. He going up. And I said, wait a minute, I ain't never hog-tied nobody. Who the hell is this that got it? It's this nigga got a whole other name. And then went inside there. I was like, did he just take your whole thumbnail with your name and your branding
Still
because you wanted to get to this first? What kind of reputable source are you? What is the hell is that?
Yep. And it's happened a couple times. Like it happened.
Oh, it happened more than once.
So it happened on his channel
Right.
the first time. And I added him on Twitter and I said, hey man, you know, you could have just shouted a nigga out or something if you was gonna do that. He didn't say nothing, which was fine with me. But then there's this other page on Twitter. I'm sure you've seen it, the Joe Budden Chat Nigga page.
Yep.
Where they put the podcast clips.
Mm-hmm.
They started using my thumbnails for their videos, they clips. And I'm like, damn, bruh.
You're
like,
lazy. That's lazy as hell. What are we doing?
And you know that page is kind of associated with Homeboy too.
Is it real? I had a feeling, but I feel like it was because of some of the takes being like pro Kendrick at times, even though it's like anti Kendrick. I was like, are they double dipping?
Yeah. So what they do is anything related to like if it's viral, they don't give a fuck. They gonna post it, but sometimes they'll let you know where they stand. So I'm like, nah, that's associated with Homeboy.
That's correct. And it says Cat Nigga in the actual name. So
right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So that was another thing. But then when they came in and just put us on the Summer Jam screen, I was like, okay, bet. Like that's y'all want to play like that? All right, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So rather than like get defensive or anything like that, I just said, you know what? There's a bunch of other shit about Chapo that still I could have been covered, but I didn't. So I was like, I'm gonna triple down on this. Like, y'all want to say he's not valid? Here goes some more information about him.
Right.
And then, you know, so then that was a thing. Then the next, like 2 days later, I covered this whole Drake UMG shit. And we get some rando who pops out and he jumps in talking about he got an amicus brief. And I'm like, okay, who is this motherfucker?
By the way, did you get that email the other night?
Nah.
He sent out an email and he BCC'd me in it. Since my YouTube got it was like legal terminology. It looked like the filing of something. And it basically led back to some tweets that were on Twitter. But I looked at that and I was like, nah, that's a rabbit hole that I do not want to go in. But I assumed because he went and liked one of my posts that had nothing to do with any of this. And then I just, it's too many characters in this movie showing up. And that's usually when the show is about to get canceled. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, all right, that's when I lose interest. And I get that he might actually have something going on, but I'm not engaging with that the same way as, you know, folks are always trying to feed me information. And I'm like, I never know who that's actually coming from or why you're all of a sudden so open about giving information. Unless that's say Ebony Prince, I'm good.
Right.
Shout out to Ebony. You see, he reached out to Justin today.
I did see that.
Yeah, I was crazy.
And he said he gonna put money in whatever it is he's putting together.
Come on, cousin. Shout out cousin real quick. Yeah. But continue.
So yeah.
Down with the platforms. That's wild, bro.
So yeah, I just covered it. I read the filing like I did the rest of them because you know that's become a thing on my channel. And homeboy just put on his fucking boxing gloves and was fighting everybody in the chat. In the comments.
Yeah.
And he spent 12 to 15 hours in my comments. I ain't never heard of no shit like that.
12 to 15 hours.
12 to 15 hours. By the time I woke up and was notified, he had already spent like 6 hours in my chat.
So debunking things or what? Answering questions or like basic like was it like, what do you call it? Taunting people?
Yeah, he did it to Absa too. But yeah, so he was like trying because of course the narrative around his name was that he was he must have been sent by Drake. So anybody that implied that he may have been sent by Drake, he was trying to defend his honor, and he was doing it comment by comment. And I'm like, bro,
that doesn't look guilty at all. You're right.
Right. So
now I believe you. Thank you for sitting here for 15 hours.
I'm like, this motherfucker been here from like 6 hours.
What is going on?
So I said, hey, bro, I offered him an opportunity to do an interview on my channel.
Right.
Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, I'm doing interviews now. People are going to misunderstand you. We could have a one-on-one conversation. You could tell us exactly who you are, where you came from, and what your intention is. He then got defensive and tried to go crazy on me. I'm like, bro, what the fuck wrong with you? So
what did you say to make him get what did you say that he justified that reaction?
Man, he's still going today. So yeah. So
oh my God.
The dude, so I didn't say anything out of the way. I say, hey Joe, I see you've taken some time out to respond to quite a few comments. Would you mind doing a short interview on my channel to where people can understand you more clearly? It was something pretty much almost verbatim to that.
Right.
He said, I'll pass. If your coverage would have been neutral from the beginning, this would have been a different conversation. So I'm like,
then why in my comments?
I'm like, all right, I see where you're going, bro.
Right.
You know, and from there, he just was, when I looked up everything that he was saying in the comments, he felt like he was being framed as some Drake Avenger or something. And I guess to be associated with that was really chapping his ass. So he wanted to fight. I mean, not fight, but you know, like he wanted to fight that narrative.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't. We didn't get there.
I ain't never hog title, but what the hell are we doing?
Right. But it was crazy to me because I'm like, bro, if you've paid attention to my channel, and I'm not saying that to you, I'm saying that to him.
Right.
If you've paid attention to my channel, because I've read his brief and a lot of the shit he was talking about algorithmic favoritism and suppression on the Spotify's. He was talking about going against discovery mode and all of this different type of shit. So I'm like, these are things I would be open to talking about. Like, fuck Drake and all that other stuff. If that's where you coming from, we could have had a great conversation about the direction that the industry has been going into. But for whatever reason, he felt like I was gonna back him into a corner and try to portray him out to be somebody he wasn't. And I'm like, that's not who I am.
Right.
But as of today, as of 20 minutes before I logged on with you, this man was in my Twitter mentions still wanting to go back and forth.
Nah, bro. Like this is where, and it's so crazy, bro, because coming from the spaces we come from as artists, there's certain things that I've never experienced, especially because you got to meet most people face to face. I had a lot of crazy folks that I didn't come in contact with. I was probably one of them. Sometimes I was a crazy person, but at the same time, there's a different type of mode that people operate with when you got to see them in person versus the internet. And with the last year, it makes me empathetic for the people who engaged in sort of like the back and forth of the political climate in 2016 to 2020, right? I can only imagine, because I was out of the loop when that shit happened the first time. I guess the first Trump presidency, I was out the loop. But I started seeing on Facebook, like, I've got family that I haven't talked to in years because of this situation. And I was like, man, I'm glad hip hop ain't got to deal with that. And it was like 10 years later. And now here we are. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, so much of this stuff feels so far removed of the very thing that we say that we love, which is music. It seems like it's just, like I said, it's a TV show that's about to get canceled, because when TV shows start having all these characters, when niggas start fake dying and coming back, like that show is running out of. It's almost like when Family Matters, when this nigga Steve Urkel started going to space and he brought that damn microwave machine in the basement. Okay, we about to get canceled. We starting to do some goofy shit.
Right.
That's what I feel like, in general, what's happening, and this shouldn't be that complex. I'm sorry that you having to go through that, but at the same time,
oh man, don't apologize, man. It's
man,
it's all
because it's not what we signed up for.
It's not, but it is, right? Because when you come out here and you really stand on your square and you stay consistent with who you are, you're gonna be met with these types of engagements. You know what I'm saying? So I try to take these moments, because I could like just go and like berate people, but that's not who I am. So what I do is I turn it to a teachable moment. And it's like, you could have, I ain't gonna say you could have had an ally, but you could have had a respectful conversation and got your point across way easier than trying to go against me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like, where do I put out that type of energy to where you will feel like you got to go against me? Like, it's motherfuckers out here that would eat you alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before even giving you an opportunity, we'll be like, nah, fuck him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, because I already anticipated some people wasn't even going to like the fact that I was offering him an interview because of the perception that he was sent by homeboy. But I'm like, no.
Why would you platform that? And not, that's the same thing I would say to me if I was
right.
But that's a part of the responsibility that I learned from Justin. We have a responsibility to not be surrounded by an echo chamber, right? You want to bring voices on that. Like, I've had artists that I've interviewed when I was going through my whole Opify content, and I was like, man, fuck this streaming. I brought people on that was like, nah, I'm making a really good penny on it. And it's like, well, let's have this conversation, because I know I'll leave from this. I'm a sponge. I'll leave from this learning something. But dog, not everybody should have. I don't think everybody should have a platform. I don't think people are mentally prepared to have a platform. I think that there are some people who bring, they bring unprocessed trauma to this space. And, you know, it's not for us to judge, right? But it is for us to make sure that we properly vet, because you just never know. You never know where you're meeting somebody from 1 to 10. In terms of 10 being where they're like doing the shit that you're talking about, going in your comments for 15 hours, and you never know where somebody's at. And I think sometimes and this is something I was talking to my wife about the other day. She was like, you got to stop operating from the space that everybody is operating from the same mindset, or even the same temperament, or the same, like, on a nervous system level, the same calm. Because sometimes people just, like I said, this shit might have happened after they just had an argument and they needed to get it out on somebody, and you just so happen to be the YouTuber that came up on a news feed first.
Yeah.
Because you wasn't the only one that talked about it, which is why I don't know why it was so much emphasis. I know you have a large platform, but it was so much emphasis on making sure that your specific comments were littered, and you and Apps, you know, shout out to Apps, we're littered with this propaganda, pretty much.
And it really confused me when, you know, she said that he had did the same thing to her, because I saw that he had posted her video on his story, like he was happy about it, and then he went to her comments and did the same shit. So I'm like, oh nah, bro, real life crazy.
Yeah, I learned to lead them crazy. People like that, I say, thank you for telling me who you are. I'm gonna believe you, and I'm gonna kind of just back myself up a little bit. Yeah. Look at you, got quiet. Look at
yeah, because I'm like, because I don't know this nigga, man. Like, I don't want no smoke, bro. Like,
I don't fuck with you, J Nolan. That quiet, that silence right there, let me know. And let me know he didn't went through the same shit as I did. I said, I keep a distance. He said,
man, because motherfuckers, you know, They be trying to dox niggas and shit off of this YouTube stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like, bro, it ain't never that deep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
By the way, I don't know if you've signed up for this, but look into deleteme.com. Deleteme.com. Like, obviously what's out there is out there, but deleteme.com definitely helps with protecting not just yourself, but anybody that is associated with it, because I've seen it happen to our peers. I've been on YouTube for a long time and I've seen it happen. But yeah, deleteme.com is definitely a good place to get that resource going in case you want to put an extra layer of security on it.
Nah, I need that.
Come on. So, man, how's your time looking like, by the way? Because I know you just got through shooting some content.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Well, DIYers, I want to read through these super chats, but I also want to leave an opportunity in case you guys have questions. I saw one in here that was really interesting, so I'm gonna go out of order with the super chats, but I do appreciate every single person in here that donated to super chat. Here's an interesting one. I want us to kind of have a conversation on this one. Cam Abraham said, "Hey Curtis, new fan here. Binge watch your videos over spring break. I'm a new teacher and will be creating a new elective on hip hop and Black culture in the fall. How would you explain hip hop's essence to white parents?" That's a heavy one.
Yeah, that's tough right there.
Good thing J Nolan's going first. Go ahead, man.
How would I explain hip hop's essence to white parents? Shit. I mean, you first off, you got to let them know this is Black music. This is Black culture being manifested through the arts. I think that's the simplest, most succinct way to talk about it. Black culture manifested through the arts, because all we're doing is pulling from our pain, our neighborhoods, our, things that we come from, and taking it into a booth or taking it into a dance or whatever it is that we're doing, DJing. But how would I explain it to white parents? Is crazy work.
I gotta answer unless you about to cook on it.
Now go ahead.
I think a good place to start is meet them in their living rooms. What are they watching? What have they been watching? What is something that everybody was watching based upon the ratings? I would say as a teacher, start with the Super Bowl. Because what I like about the presentation from Kendrick in that Super Bowl was that he made sure he'd been saying the same thing since the Kendrick Lamar EP, is that I can be conscious, but I'm gonna always keep it ghetto. And I think that when you keep that frame of mind in mind, when you keep that dynamic in mind, it makes sure that parts of his story don't get taken out merely for censorship. You can't enjoy one thing that you think is a beautiful artistic presentation without understanding the other thing that may be too explicit for certain school environments. If we're going to have the conversation, we got to have the full conversation, because we are meant to be whole human beings. We're meant to have, the moments that you see him in Euphoria, and there's some fans who are like, I can't believe he would say things like that. How could you be a rapper that's so much about the people and you say the things that you say? That's because if he don't got that, he don't got the fire to make that, right? It all is an exchange. We know this as artists. I would say talk to the parents and meet them where they're at, and then let them, some parents have already made a decision. I think the generations of specifically white parents, I think they're opening up in a way that 90s white parents would never. I think a lot of them are like children of the 50 Cent era, right? They're not babies of the 50 Cent era. They're babies of the Nelly era. So they have some kind of entryway that's not like a clean version. It's not just one particular avatar. So I would say meet them where they're at, talk about that, and use that as a way to really bring them into what hip hop could be, but then also too what it is. And then when we get into that conversation, I think that's going to end up having a conversation about Black culture in general, because these are shout out to Razzcast. He said, like, this is it, like hip hop is CNN for the hood. So if you hear something that you think is very offensive, if you hear something that feels like it is lacking class, well, we got to start to talk about the things in society that would put somebody in this particular predicament. We got to talk about all the things that influence it. Like trying to explain to my pops Nipsey Hussle was a challenge at the beginning because he's like, why does he talk about these things if he's so about the community? And I'm like, Pops, he's putting the vitamin in the brownie. If he don't talk a certain way, they don't see themselves in him. I just said it this morning, I said, thank God Ryan Coogler never code switched. That's a Bay Area nigga, no matter where he go. To the top of the game with Black Panther. He got the new movie out with Michael B. Jordan. No matter where he go, Oakland gonna be there with him. That's how it should be. So if you talk to these parents, don't give them a diet version of that. Let them know that this is a Black art form, and there's going to be parts of this that your culture will not allow you to properly digest, but that's why we're teaching it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was way more eloquent than I was going to say. So
no, you good. You good. I got you, bro. I got shake and bake, man. Shake and bake, bro. That's what we do, man. That's why when I seen this shit popping up, I was like, especially when I seen this shit with the Grand Wizard and all that shit putting you up on it. I don't even call that shit Akademiks TV. The Grand Wizard is what your name is. When I see that shit, I was like, dog, nah, we gotta get my dog in here. We gotta get my dog in here. We gotta make sure that he understands that one, we definitely would love to have you on the next episode of Collective. I was definitely vouching for you and JV DeVille from the Ville, man. But I want to get to these super chats, but I also want to make sure that man, we give you your roses, bro. Man, you've been on a consistent grind and you've been keeping up the quality. Every time I come up to another video, you speaking from a place of experience, from a place of integrity, and I can't do nothing but salute it because I know how hard this shit can be sometimes, right? I know how much work this shit can be. So when you see somebody always constantly on their grind, bro, we got to make sure we give you your roses and your respect. So, man, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat.
Appreciate it.
Come on. And he got bars. Type shit.
Indeed.
All right, let's get to some of these. Happy to see y'all live together. Thank you, BDH. Ooh, appreciate you. You guys got me smiling big. Let's go. Hey, thank you.
A lot of familiar names in here.
Come on, Lenny. Thank you so much for the super chat. Tatted Reaperist. It's Nolan.
Hey.
Watching Nolan pack out some fools trying to play him like he ain't been in the rap game for years was especially delightful to me. That feeling is how I felt when I was like, somebody finally challenged Kendrick. Oh, you're about to get a master class. It's
hey,
like,
man.
You know niggas been doing this. Like, you can't do that with somebody who never did this before.
Right. And I met shit, man. I see you. I see how you be going through it. So I can't back down from the conversation.
You know, and I'm avoiding that conversation because I'm ready to move on. I felt like yesterday was cathartic and I needed to do. I stand on everything that I said and I did. But you know what I'm realizing? I told my wife this the other night when we had a conversation. I was talking to Justin too. I said, man, it took me a long time before I liked myself. It took me a long time before I was being my authentic self. And in the face of criticism, harsh criticism from a lot of people, I stood on my peg. Not from a place of stubbornness, but from a place of, but that's you, whether or not you choose to hide it or show it. I finally get into a place where it's like I'm unapologetically living in that truth, still open to evolving, still open to looking at my errors, but I'm standing on that shit. And I said that the feeling feels remarkable to finally look in the mirror and say, I fuck with you, bro, and I mean that. I don't think people realize that. Like, that takes a lot of self-work. Shout out Andy, unknown, but Ninth Wonder was in a chat next day. I guess you just stream on one of his artists, right?
Yeah. So I talked about Ruben Vincent and you know, him and Ninth that came back because it had been a while since they worked. And you know, I just happened to talk about a mixtape that they dropped and played one of the music videos from the project, and they jumped in the chat. And I was like, oh wow, you know, because and Ninth was like super gracious, and you know, I talked to Ruben Vincent about possibly coming on the channel doing an interview. I got to reach back out to him to see if he's still down to do it. But yeah, man, and the crazy thing about that situation was it was only like 70 people in the chat. So the fact that out of that 70, you had the actual artist and the producer, Ninth Wonder, a fucking legend.
That's why we
Like,
can't look at numbers, bro. We can't
right,
you had 70 people in there, nigga. I can't fit 7 people in here without it being a problem.
right. You know, but you know how that goes. It's
I get
like
it though, because you want to
those
see the growth.
those
Yeah.
moments where you would think, okay, this is just gonna be a regular drop. You know what I mean? But then something happens and it's like, oh nah, it may be regular to everyone else,
Yeah.
but today was special.
Yeah.
And that's what I really enjoyed about it. Shout out to Andy for bringing that up.
Absolutely, man. Because you know, my favorite quote is these niggas got the same internet as us. So when I started seeing, okay, well, Lupe, please don't come, don't spawn up when I say this. When I was talking about Lupe today and the day or 2 days, and he popped up in a live stream, I said, "Good reminder, Curtis. They got the same internet as you. There ain't no special legend internet, right? Like hey, we got the same internet. Some people got some faster internet for sure. But when you start seeing them names pop up, and man, I'm just tripped out, bro. I had Guru in here for a 6-hour stream. I'm like, what is going on? And what is going? But that's I think that's the power of also too the trust that people have in you, understanding them as an artist. I heard Chapo say that to you. He was like, I feel more comfortable talking to you about this because I know that at least you're operating from a place that is empathetic of the artist because you are an artist.
Absolutely. And you know, and I told him in return, like it's no way I'm gonna invite you to my platform and you walk away from this feeling worse than when you got here. Like that would be a failure on my part.
Yeah. Facts. Man, shout out to Queen Nexus. I'm leery of making music live because people be stealing. Look,
niggas do be stealing.
But you know what the crazy thing about it though, Queen Nexus? I'm gonna tell you this. Sis, I didn't recognize how much this could be to your defense, though. No, J Nolan, I had a dude that said, this nigga Curtis King stole my marketing idea to flip Blockbuster video. And I said, I did what? He said, you stole my idea. I know you did. I went back to Flowcation 2 months ago when I came up with the idea with the group. And matter of fact, the group came up with the idea. I cut that video up so fast and I said, this is what I stole from you. In the moment in the video, I said, oh shit. You said Blockbuster. Damn, what if we called it Home Movies? And what if we did this? And what if we did? And I literally got in Canva, bro, and made the album cover in there. So it's like those kind of moments in terms of, it's funny how much, you know, we want to protect our process. And I know it's sacred for a lot of people. I respect that. Sometimes this shit can end up saving your ass because it's like, I go live so many times that it's going to be hard for somebody to accuse me of a crime. Like, nigga, I was streaming that night. What are you talking about? I was streaming.
Yeah.
What are you talking about,
and this shit is time stamped.
I was streaming that night. Boy, I was in there talking about I was reacting to a music video. Andre says, thank you from San Diego. Oh, thank you. Big Baka Akademiks. We just gonna keep coming up with these new names. I'll be damned. Andy, find out if the celeb is single. Help us, ladies.
Oh yeah.
With a celeb.
I don't be asking stuff like that.
J Nolan, UK loving it. Thanks, Curtis. Of course, Karen. I appreciate the super chat. Hella respect for you both. Love to see insiders and DIYers come together for this compelling conversation. Thank you, Demetrius. Crown by K. We need that Midas touch, Curtis King. Nolan location ASAP. He said he was down. We're gonna have to make that happen. Explaining rap to parents. You know that fire inside that swells when they get to do, you hear the sing. Explaining rap to white parents. You know that fire inside that swells when they get to do, you hear the people sing and Les Miss. It's like that.
That's a record I don't know about.
Commas, brother. Commas. Matt, commas. That's all I'm gonna say is commas. Commas could definitely help my brain and the hamster and the wheel speed up. You talking about Les Miserables? I forget the name of that. That's one of Tupac's favorites. Love you both. Great conversation. Thank you for the super chat too, man. Thank you, Latrice. Ogechi. Hey, Jay. Happy to see you. Link, Big Kurt. I appreciate you.
What up, OG?
Uh-huh. You familiar with her music?
Mm-hmm. She worked with with the homie out here in Atlanta, Miss London Elixir.
Yeah, and also too, what's my dog's name? Oh my God, my brain. It'll come to me. It'll come back to me. New Beginnings 2025. When will we get a collab between you two? Much love from Houston, Texas. You guys have no other way to go but up. The Temptations, nothing but love. What more do you want from me? We finally live. We just got live. What more do you? I'm just playing. We're gonna make it happen. Thelma, appreciate you. Loving the conversation, fellas. Just sending some love. Thank you, Thelma. Thank you, Robin. And then last but not least, Andre F. I was streaming that night. I ain't hog tied nobody.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth.
How can I hog tie somebody? I was here with J Nolan. I was here with J Nolan.
You know I gotta ask you, man.
Ask me whatever you want to ask me, bro. Go ahead.
You gonna spread the bread?
Dog, it took me. This lets you know how my brain has been so frazzled by all these interviews. I said, why these niggas keep putting bread emojis in my chat? I was like, I know it means something. How much you want, bro? I'll send you a super chat when this money come in April, May. It's gonna be in May, bro. Hey man, what you want? 50%?
I'm Gucci, man. I just had to throw it out there.
Y'all gonna make me turn off the damn super chats moving forward. You be like, man, we can't all eat. Curtis can't eat neither. Oh my God, I'm done. I knew it, bro. I knew it. We one on the same because I for sure would have said that when I got to your channel. I'd have been like, so we gonna spread the bread. Oh, 3718. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. How does shit move around so fast like this, bro? You was cooking. How you even I ain't ever hog tied about it. How you even hear about this, bro?
Man, I got the notification like everybody else.
Not you giving me the Nardwar answer. You're Curtis King. We're supposed to know.
Exactly.
Great discussion. I've learned so much as an insider and a DIYer. Stay 10 toes down every day, even on Sunday. Appreciate you, LL Biddy. Appreciate you. Amazing. Oh, last question, bro. I got this theory, right? I got this theory, tight shit. I got this theory.
Okay.
I went from having an audience that was like 98% male at one point and 2% women.
Yep.
And when that environment was like that, dog, this shit was so catty. When it was 98% men, it was so catty. When I started to widen the net in terms of my content, and these amazing women had made their way to this community and started to offer their honest and unbiased opinion, and we went to 60-40, this became so much more fun and much more balanced of a conversation, much more intelligent of a conversation. Lord, I am so grateful.
Man, I can identify with that, bro. Go ahead, though.
No. I want you to cook on this. This is your question. I just wanted to say that because I was like, you niggas get mad about everything. I have a plug-in, pause, called Sausage Fattener. Pause.
Okay.
Whoa. Basically,
that's crazy.
Oh, and it's an actual sausage that be like, oh, it's crazy. But basically, it makes an 808. I don't even want to get into it. I'm about to say it makes an 808 thicker. I don't even get into that. I would use the I would use a plug
like an 808.
I would use the plug and they'd be like, man, lay off the sausage fattener, bro. And it's like, nigga, why do y'all care so much about the details? Hey, bro, I'd like this if it wasn't so much compression on the attack it. Nigga, shut up. Enjoy some shit. When the ladies got here, them catty ass niggas got so quiet. Did you experience something similar?
Yeah. Well, I say this because when it was primarily dudes watching my channel, I didn't even know they was watching. For real.
What you mean?
They wasn't saying shit. They was just watching and leaving. I don't know what them niggas wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if they liked me, didn't like me or nothing. You know, it was like it was select people who I would see, and it would always be some form of criticism. I do know that much.
Yeah.
But now the percentages is probably like 63% female on my channel now.
Wow.
And the conversation has shifted. Like, that's actually what built the insiders community. Honestly, it took for them to even say, what are we what you gonna call us, Nolan? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? For it to even become a thing. What's the name of the community? What's the emoji? Having these conversations about female rap, having the conversations about all of the different things, like all of this was fostered because of the women in the space that actually came forth and, you know, gave their perspective, whether they pushed back or advocated for whatever I was saying. And it just showed me like, wow, this is different than that other thing that I had on my channel, you know what I'm saying, or whatever was going on. And it was people that I knew, you know what I'm saying? Before, it was like dudes that I knew that was like, damn, I didn't know you had so much critique for me. Like, shit.
I love it, bro. I somebody said the other day, they said, another troll, he was like, man, I love this channel so much more when it was talking about producer content. Said now this shit's become Kendrick TV. And I said, excuse my language. I said, bitch, why you think I left? I said, look at I said, look at the idiots I was attracting before. Niggas like you. And now you feel uncomfortable here. I think we figured it out, sir. I think that was done intentionally. And then I'm like, and then you know what's crazy? I said that, and when I would think it would be some of my dogs that would get in there and be like, yeah, nigga, like stop acting like a little bit. The ladies went in there and said, stop acting like a little bitch. I said, oh my. Not y'all being more gangster than the dudes. The dudes would be like, I mean, he kind of has a point if you ask me. Y'all got in there and start firing them up. I said, I like it here. I can live here.
Yep.
Live here.
Facts. Because I don't know. I think it's men that, you know, they see themselves in what it is that you're doing, and they kind of like wish that they had the courage to do it. And that kind of clouds their judgment on how they speak to you. They speak to you with this, like, you know, how Nas said, the confused admiration thing. So I think that's where it comes from. It's like, damn, I wish I could just do that too. And it's like, you can, bro. Ain't nobody told you can't.
Yeah. Well, their head did. Their brain did. That's why they got to deal with that nigga. The moment I started realizing, like, somebody told me to do an interesting technique whenever I saw negative commentary. And I said, and they said, imagine this person saying what they're saying to you to a mirror and see if you feel the same way. And I said, fuck. So when they say, man, you talk incredibly too much about female rappers in this space, bro. Like, what are you doing? Trying to be one of the barbs? And then you realize that person is talking into a mirror because, one, they're hyper consuming it. That's why they left a comment. And two, they want to see you. They want to see them. They want to see you in them, but they can't. All they see in that mirror is a reflection of the stuff that they're throwing at you. I said, okay, that was helpful. That was very helpful, because you realize that people are their own echo chambers. And all they want to do is push these performative narratives of what you should be based upon what they're not even living by. Because the people who are living like that usually don't have the time to do all that extra shit. But, you know, it is what it is. And I appreciate your transparency, for real. I really appreciate the content. You both have insightful, sensible convos versus abstract conjecture convos. It's refreshing. I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't know what that second part meant, but that shit sound like I fucks with that. Yeah. Sensible versus abstract conjecture convos. I'm gonna have to look that up later, but I be saying that shit all the time. Thank you, LL Biddy.
For sure. I'll
be like, you feel me? Like, everybody knows it here. I'm a big anime fan. I'm not really. I'll be talking shit. Carne Asada Taco says, is Nolan the Achilles nines? Misrect to you. It's Saturday.
Oh, man.
Do you ever relax? Oh, God. Okay, we got a plug-in called Sausage Fattener. I think that Curtis likes bangers. Leave me alone.
Oh, that's crazy.
Spread the bread. Curtis, because of inflation and these damn tariffs, I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for, well, I guess I didn't vote for nobody, so that's what it is. Super shoe chat for you. Any final words, J Nolan? Because, you know, these folks, it's a sport every day. It's a sport every day. They get in here and their favorite sport is people be like, "What's your favorite sport?" "Oh, I like basketball, soccer." This favorite sport, "I like firing up Curtis." What sport is that?
I mean, for me, man, like once again, I appreciate you for coming and offering, you know, the opportunity to come speak to you on your platform, man. We have been trying to make this happen for a minute.
Sure.
And I think the timing worked out perfectly for this conversation. And again, as somebody who had been consuming your content from shit before, the content from the beats to the tutorial, I didn't even make beats and I was watching them bitches.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So up to now, you know, it's a dope moment because I can recall telling my wife, like, you know, this is somebody who I'm watching and I'm not necessarily trying to mock or mimic, but I saw what you was doing, and because she was like, you know, is there anybody else out there in your space that you see that is doing it in a way that you would like to do it? And you were always my example. So, yep.
Appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, and it I received that. I appreciate that. I also say this as final words, man. I'm grateful to see. I'm grateful to see people like yourself here that don't make me feel crazy for believing that I can find harmony between both of these, right? Because at times, if I describe this to somebody who's an artist, they're like, "There's no way you have time to do both at a high level," and I just don't believe that, right? I'm part of the generation that came up on Big Tigger, right? And him interviewing folks in that mock basement and then get them in the booth. And before they went and rapped, he freestyled as a host. And then they jumped in there and that became that. So when I see that, I keep getting this vision about what I'm supposed to be doing in this era. But I really feel like, you know, people wonder like what happened to shows like Teen Summit, what happened to shows like 106 in Park, even like TRL on MTV and all these Music Central shows, these Yo MTV raps. And I feel like we're becoming that new version of that. No, it's not going to be as produced. It's not as nostalgic as it is, but it is our responsibility to speak some sense to the things that we value. And I feel like you and I both value, we both value the craft and the art. And I think a lot of people, they let their fandom of what they think is going on from the outside determine their professionalism. And I think that's the thing about it that I'm like, dog, when I see people like you in this space, and it's not a lot, when I see folks like you that are doing both at a high, it just makes me feel like I'm not crazy. So I salute you for answering the call when, you know, when your wife was like, "I think you should be doing this," and you did that. That's a bold move. And then as I'm watching you get into your own and your channel was growing, nothing but support from us, bro. And anything that you need from me, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. For real.
Everything except for spread the bread.
Right. Right. Because I was going to bring it back.
Nah. You know what? I'll tell you this. I ain't never hog-tied nobody. DIYers, DIYers, round of applause for J Nolan, man. We definitely got to get into an interview at some point in time, but I just felt like so much was going on that I wanted to be able to have just like, honestly, he and I probably could have had this conversation offline because we never had the conversation before. But I wanted this to happen in front of y'all because I know a lot of you been asking for us to collaborate. And it's not like it was nothing stopping it. It's just that bro's been on fire. He been busy. I've been busy. But, you know, when the time is supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. And like I said, it just so happened to be that this last week we both had some very storied weeks. But man, that's just, you know, that just comes with the territory of this. If you ever find yourself on this end of things, you'll realize, you know, it's like that meme. I don't know what the movie is where the dude has a noose around his neck and he's like, first time. Like, it's just this comes with the territory is that conflict is the entry fee that you have to pay before you can get on the ride to get to the next level. So
Facts.
I'm here for it all, man, and I salute you, bro.
Like
y'all already know where to find them and stuff, but where else can they find your music? That's the thing I want to end off on.
Okay. Well, you know, the best way is to go to realjnolan.com, my album Southside Nolan, which came out at the end of 2023. Y'all could get that on realjnolan.com. And everything else, you know, if you're a streamer, you can find that stuff. But you know, the best way to support directly is going to be on realjnolan.com. That's pretty much it. And be on the lookout for Family Over Fame. You know, that's the next thing.
Come on, be on the lookout for that collaboration too, because you know what I'm saying, like it's just you know, should be just happening. So like he might end up with an open verse inside of his email. We got to make that happen.
Hey,
you know? Like I'm ready to start cooking, bro. All of these stories. Sometimes, bro, I'd be feeling like I'm watching a nigga play 2K and it's another controller over there, and I'm like, see, just gonna play the computer while I'm over here.
Yeah,
I want to rap too. Damn it, man. Salute one more time. Let's get it, man. Salute. Keep up the amazing work, and we're gonna for sure continue to build. Obviously, we'll definitely have you on the next collective. DIYers, enjoy your Saturday. I'm about to go chop up some clips and add some timestamps to some amazing interviews that we had. But please make sure you subscribe. It is pinned up there at the top. Go subscribe to J Nolan's channel if you're not already. It's Nolan, man. All right, y'all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon, DIYers. Peace. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't be greedy. Peace.